I want to ask you guys how your first period was.
In the Indian community, it's celebrated. When a girl gets her period, it's celebrated. There's an entire event, and everyone buys you gold jewel, like real gold.
What?
That's amazing.
I was born into the wrong house.
And sadly, many women actually have a negative experience regarding their period.
I had a conversation of like how I disposed my pad and so on and so forth. And then the comment section flooded with like so many methods to dispose of pads.
Wow.
I was hearing crazy things. Like people wash their pads. I didn't know that.
A disposable.
Yes.
And then she was holding the tampon like this. And she says to me, so you're no longer a virgin.
Oh, Mom. I would like to believe that I'm quite open-minded and I'm liberal, but I saw that day when I was asking girls, "Hi, do you have a tampon for me?" I was whispering.
Same, actually.
Hello, hi, to go, mommy dearest.
Hi, I'm Caiah, aka Adi.
And welcome to Thought Digest, where we
Amplify conversations.
one thought at a time. Welcome. Guys, we have guests today. I'm very excited. I'm actually so excited. I think I told you guys behind the scenes that I put this on like my brands I want to work with list. Yes, because we've had conversations on periods before.
Yeah.
So now to have Kotex and a doctor. This is very exciting. So should we introduce you guys, or do you want to introduce yourselves?
I will introduce myself.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Karishma and Mpho.
Hi everyone, my name is Gudrona Titani. I'm head of marketing for Kotex.
Welcome to Thought Digest. Thank you for making time for us, girlies. We've been waiting for you. We've been expecting you.
Thank you for having us.
Excited to be here.
Yes.
The first part of our conversation is obviously a life update.
Yes.
And we're going to start off with where you are at the moment, how you're
Yes.
feeling, what your week has been, what you're looking forward to, what your week has been like, and what you're looking forward to this week, next month, whatever you feel like you want to share. I will lead the way. Don't worry about it. My life update is, still as weighty as last week's. But, so I will catch you up also as to where my life is. At the moment, bittersweet news is that my nephew's murder case has been moved up to national investigative level. So the protests have worked. The whole Justice for Jaden Lee has made some progress because now we're on a national scale. So it's a bit of a relief. But the bitter part of it is that I do feel like too little, too late. Because I feel like the police could have moved faster when he was reported missing, by moving into the apartments and searching there first, because that's where he went missing, is at home. But hopefully, it being moved up makes a difference in the case. It's also really lovely. The sweet part is that I have my family all together for the first time in years. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh my goodness.
And we're all in one house. And my brothers have their own children. So like my nieces and nephew, everybody's here. My sisters-in-law are also in the house. So it's a full house, but it's also really lovely to have family and community. And I think I do want to encourage our audience to always tell the people you love that you love them, the family that you love them, and appreciate them, and always, do your best to show them how much you love them. And I think we've been doing a great job of that this week. I've been up in the morning because my nieces go to school and they wake me up.
She's not a morning person, so this is very difficult for her. She hates the morning
in my household. But it's lovely to have my siblings all together for the first time in forever. What am I looking forward to? I think this episode. Yes, because it is a long time coming. I've loved the biocare range, the Kotex biocare range. Yes, I tried and I tested it on this couch. So I had a lot of fun. I went to the gym in the biocare range. I had a little quality time with my partner in the biocare range. So hey, try, tested and improved. It's got my stamp of approval, man. So yeah, that is my life update. What's happening in my life at the moment? Yeah.
Okay, well, my life update is I'm a teen mom, so I'm a mom of a 15-year-old boy. He turned 15 yesterday.
wow.
Oh my goodness. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. So it's very exciting for me. Kind of migrating from not only just being a mom to being his friend now. So that's really fun for me and for him. I'm excited to be here. So to be very honest, this episode is the highlight of my week.
Stop it, we like it.
We love it over here.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to be here. What I'm looking forward to, honestly, is downtime. So I don't get a lot of me time.
Yeah.
So when I have a weekend without plans, it's absolutely my favorite thing to do. Yes, to sleep in. I also have young nieces, and they always have something urgent to tell me very early in the morning. So
You must hear it.
I have to hear it. So when you said you're not a morning person, I was like, Bluetooth high five. I'm not either. What I have started doing that's exciting is I've gone back to gym for whatever reason. I like gymming in winter. I can't stand summer. I'm a winter baby.
I'm
like
the
to go.
I can't get
Yes.
Hey.
So that's exciting for me right now. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have today.
I like your life update.
Yeah, your life update is very comprehensive. Love it. Love it.
Very well thought out. Okay, so my life update. I have two businesses, just for context. I have an influencing business and my aesthetic business. I'm actually an aesthetic doctor. I inject toxins, fillers. So I've been open for 3 years, and yesterday was the highest grossing day in 3 years.
Congratulations!
So I was so happy because I go to bed and I pray for this type of moment. So it's something to be celebrated. I'm very happy about it. And sure, the influencing gigs are busy. So it's just, one to the other, one to the other. So I'm very happy about that. And my husband and I are going to a wedding in Greece in June.
Ooh.
And I'm not a mom, but I am a dog mom.
Yes.
And so I am looking for a place to put them. So I'm looking for
How many?
two little French bulldogs. And they're like my children.
Yes,
They even get dressed with like little jumpers and
Okay.
So we're busy looking at daycares and we're interviewing them. So that's my life update. What I'm looking forward to is my mom is coming up from Durban today and she's spending the whole weekend with me. So we're going to do mommy-daughter stuff.
Oh, that is so fun.
lovely.
Please film it for us.
I will. Yes, we're actually we're getting pampered by Mall of Africa.
Ooh.
So that's going to be fun. Yeah,
That is going to be so fun. Can't wait.
I'm excited for her.
Can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see that. My life update. I've just been battling my health. Like, I've just been battling, flu after flu, this after that.
Yeah.
And it's, hard to get rest when, you are working as well, school, work. So I haven't gotten time to really, recuperate. And I feel like that's why, I have a 2-week flu. Yeah. And it just got really worse. In terms of, home, my siblings are doing okay. My sister texted me yesterday. She's like, please help a broke girl. I need to do my hair. And I'm just like, girl, I need to do my hair too. We both need to do our hair. So that's what I'm going to try to do for her, surprise her with getting her hair done. Nice. And then my little brother doesn't ask for much. So I'm going to actually see them today. I haven't seen them in so long. So I'm going to go see my family today. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm most excited about this episode. I was like, I don't care how I feel. I'm going to push through because this is very exciting for us because we've had a conversation on periods and so on and so forth. But to have people who this is what they do. This is to have professionals. Yes, and the lovely thing is we all women. So we all know what a period is. Yeah. So I'm very, very excited for this episode, not just for myself, but for our audience. Yeah. And so before we start the episode, before going into the girl chat, I want to ask you guys how your first period was. Where were you? How did you feel? What were you thinking? We've answered this question for our audience, so we're going to maybe keep it brief, but we want the details for you.
Are you going to go first?
Okay. I said that when I got my first period, I was at home. I said, for me, I had the opposite experience as her. She's going to tell you her experience. My experience was I was not happy. I was not happy at all because I was like, what is this? Why? I knew what a period was because of course, school, we have LO and you know what it is. But I was like, why am I going through this? I had my period in grade 7, so I was 12, 13. And I was like, why am I going through this? Am I too young? What's going on? I was so confused. And luckily for me, I had it at home. So I woke up and there's blood and I was like, what's going on? And then my mom just like showed me how to use a pad. So she kind of like calmed down like what's going on? And then, so I have an opposite experience from my mom. So my mom has never had period pains. And I suffer from period pains. So when I told her I have period pains, I don't think she understood the severity of my period pains. So I suffered with period pains without taking painkillers for like 6 months into having my period. Like the person who actually said that actually there's painkillers for this was my father, funny enough. Because he didn't know I had period pains. And when I told him, I was like, oh, I'm in pain. He's like, period pains. And then he's the one who went and got me the period painkillers and stuff. So like, shout out to him for that. Shout out to him for that. So yeah, that was my period experience, my first period experience.
I think we're twins. I had the exact same experience. So I got my period at home in the morning when I was 12 years old, and I was not happy. I was not happy. I knew what a period was. My mom had told me about it. But when I got it, I was like, oh, what is this? I went to the bathroom, I wiped and I looked and there was blood and I screamed and I was like, Mom! And she was like so happy. She was like, oh, you're a big girl now. And I was like, she put me in the shower and I was crying and bathing and I was like, I hate this, why? And she started calling everyone because in the Indian community, it's celebrated. When a girl gets her period, it's celebrated. There's an entire like event, like a celebratory event with your uncles, your aunties, your cousins, both men and women, and everyone buys you gold, like real gold.
What?
That's amazing.
I was born into the wrong house.
And if it's not gold jewelry, then they must give you money.
Wow.
Yes.
Girl, how much money did you get?
I got lots of gold. But so she was calling everyone like, she got her period. And I was there like, oh, my period. So same as you, lots of pain. I didn't know that there was something for the pain, but intense pain, like pain that would not let me go to school.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was my first experience with my period. Very similar to you.
I guess
So
that's why
twins.
you guys are
This
sitting together.
I guess so.
I belong together.
And this is why these conversations are so important because you feel like your experience is individual and you're alone, but you're not alone.
Yes. So I am going to move towards the side.
Wow! We're not alone!
Not alone. You
Clearly I am.
My period, I think I got when I was around 11, I think. What I do remember is that I was also at home. It was school holidays. So I was just grateful that I'm at home and I'm not at school. So it was very similar to you. So I went to the bathroom after using the toilet. I wiped, there's a bit of blood. In my mind, I pretended like none of this is happening.
Denial.
I moved on with my life and I carried on. But then I could feel like, no, something is different. Luckily, I have an older sister. So I knew what was happening, but I was scared because it was different. And it's different to know something and to experience it. Yes, because I'm like, there's blood coming out. And you know, blood, red, something's wrong. Exactly.
Yeah.
Although I was prepped, like my mom did talk to me about it. My older sister did talk to me about it. And when I had to go tell them, I was actually apprehensive because I was like, oh no, this thing that we talked about, now I have to go say something to somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, so my sister was great in that perspective. So she gave me my first pad. I didn't suffer from period pain, actually. It's
so
only
lucky.
as I get older that I'm now starting to experience some cramps. But when I was younger, none of that. Strangely enough, my biggest worry when I got my period was, what am I going to do with my netball? Because how am I now supposed to play? Because you know you play with short skirts.
Of the skirt.
How am I going to play and still be wearing this pad? Because I feel like everyone's gonna see what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, that was the hardest part of getting my period.
Yeah.
That's actually so true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Mine was the opposite, guys. When my period came, I was happy. I was like, yes, I hit the jackpot. I'm old because all my friends were early bloomers. So they got their period around 10, 11, some of them 9. And they were all talking about it. It's like, do you have a pad? And they'd carry like, you know, these little you know those little cases for the pad,
Yes,
those really cute
yes,
cases,
yes,
and they
those
carry it
are
around
yes.
in their bag and show each other, let me see your case, and I'd be like, oh my god. I ain't got no boobs. I ain't got no period. Like nothing. What's happening? And it threw me into a state of paranoia because I'm like, okay, when should I start worrying? You know, like when is the latest that I should get my period? How long should I be waiting? Should I see a doctor? When are my boobs supposed to grow? Like I was paranoid, right? And so I think 2 years go by because the period conversation with my friend started in grade 6. So grade 6 I didn't get my period, grade 7 I didn't get my period, and then half of grade 8 I didn't get my period.
Sure.
So you can imagine,
Yeah, you were just
And then one fateful day,
As it's dreadful, as it's painful.
I was at school and I started feeling intense pain in my abdomen. But I thought, oh, maybe it's because I'm hungry or I thought I was hungry or something, or I ate something wrong. You know, my stomach's about to run or something. And I'm just going about my day, but I'm trying to thug it out because I'm like, I'll just use the toilet when I get home, right? Until a friend of mine at school was like, do you need my jersey?
Oh,
And I'm like, need your jersey, girl? It's so hot, like it's trippy. And she's like, you do need my jersey, right?
so sweet.
And it was so crazy. The moment she told me that, hey, like you've got your period, I'm gonna cover you up. Let's go to the school nurse. Then I realized that these are. Because when I was paranoid, I did all the research in the world. Like, I went to the University of YouTube. I was looking at all the YouTubers. I was like, okay, now I know what's happening. I can't wait to tell my dad, because I was living with my dad at the time. I can't wait to tell him to get me some pads. Like, I was so excited. But when I got to the nurse, for some reason, when she started, when a doctor speaks to you in a soft tone, you realize that something's wrong. It's like, then the pain intensified somehow. Then I'm like laying on the bed, paralyzed. I'm just like, I'm dying. But it was like really short, I'm dying. Because I got home, my father picked me up, and the first thing I said to him was like, I need a pad. Like, there's so much excitement on my face. Like,
my gosh.
I need a pad. And then we went together, and we picked out like the always pads, and then but like really tiny ones that didn't work because my flow was actually really heavy. So when I got home, I put it on, and I went to bed. I was like, this means I'm not going to school for the next few days. My period is amazing. And 2 hours later, soaked. But I was still excited. I was like, okay, that means I need a bigger pad. I need more painkillers. I need this. And I used it as an excuse to get fruits and sweets and all. Anyway,
really,
my
Dr.
period, my
YouTube.
first period was amazing. Sorry for yapping. It was amazing.
You see, polar opposite experience. I want to ask, so Kotex did something amazing. They have this annual P-Word like survey that you guys do where you go and like kind of like ask questions from university students. So you went around to different universities and so on and so forth. In the survey, did like the girls ever, you also interviewed boys?
Yeah, that was
For
really
the
interesting.
first time.
Yes. You also interviewed boys. Like, was there like any statistic, like any question around like the period, getting their first period, how it felt for them? Like, was there any question around that?
I don't remember any question around specifically getting your first period, but we did ask them around how does you having your period impact your day-to-day life?
Yes.
And it's very interesting that some girls said there's no impact.
It doesn't.
As I was,
Wow.
yes. Some girls are very neutral about it. Some girls actually have a very positive experience about having their period. And sadly, many women actually have a negative experience regarding their period.
What do you think shaped their negative experience?
I think it's centered a lot around myths and taboos and stigmas
I see.
that we don't talk about periods, or I don't know what's happening, or being on your period is dirty. So I think a lack of education has driven the whole negative experience around it. Lack of access to menstrual hygiene products. Obviously, you'll have a negative experience if you can't have a basic pad or a tampon, so that's
so
where
true.
the negativity kind of stems from. And just communities not wanting to talk about it or shaming you for going through something like that, as if it's not normal. I mean, you all go through it. So yeah, I think that's mostly what informs the negative experiences that we have seen. But on the upside, there are women who are having positive experiences. And if I remember correctly, the percentage of women who are having positive experiences versus last year has increased.
Wow.
Yes, and
That's
talks
amazing.
a lot to these types of conversations.
Education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can't go to your mom, you can go to
YouTube.
this podcast. You can go to Kotex.co.za. So we're definitely making inroads in
Fantastic.
kind of shifting that narrative.
Which actually brings us to our girl chat, which is the next segment of our podcast. And it's the topic title is "What did the world teach you about periods?" Right? For me, I think initially it was different because I bounced between the city life and life in KZN, which is a small town, kind of rural, no shade to my family in KZN, but so it was two different experiences. So in the city, with my friends in the city, periods were a positive thing. Like you grown now, you're a big girl. But back home, it was completely different. There was a lot of shame around your period.
Sure.
Like, hey, if you have your period, and you want to change your pad or you want to dispose of your pad, you wrap your pad up, but you also put it in a plastic bag. But you also dispose of it outside, really far away. Yes, nowhere far from the house. If you're on your period, don't be around boys. Don't hang around them. Don't wear short skirts. You can't be comfortable in your skin. You actually have to stay inside. You can't really talk about it either. If you happen to leak, it must be close the doors, lock the doors. You've leaked. Like let's clean you up really quickly. So there was a lot of shame surrounding it, and also there was a lot of, I feel like, invalidation as to what the menstrual cycle experience is. So sometimes you feel fatigued, or sometimes your period pains are really debilitating. You can't really function like you usually do, or you moody, whatever, sleepy, all of these things, and they kind of invalidated those experiences as well, because like, hey, it's just your period, get up and go. So that informed the way that I thought about periods at a very early age, especially because I did spend a significant amount of time at home in KZN. But that's what the world taught me about periods at an early age.
What did the world teach you guys about periods?
The world taught me about periods, so very similar. Also, I had very differing experiences depending on who I was talking to and who I was interacting with. So when I was younger, while my caregivers and my support structures were quite open about this is what will happen, I do feel though that it was still something that was kind of a secret, and we can only talk about it as girls behind closed doors. Never mention the word period when there's a boy around. So there was a lot of that secrecy, and with that, it kind of makes you feel like, okay, if it's such a big secret, there must be something to be ashamed about, or there must be something wrong. What I am finding as I grow older and I interact with younger generations is completely different. You said that you asked your dad for a pad. I would have never asked my dad for a pad. But I'm seeing it with the generations now and how I'm interacting with them. The word period doesn't faze them. They can talk about pads with their parents. So it's definitely different for me depending on, am I talking to somebody older? Even now, I'm friends with my mom, but it's not a conversation that I'll readily have. Like, hey mom, you know what's happening with my period? Not a conversation I'm likely to have with my mom. Yes, but I might say something like, oh, it's one of those days today. But if I'm talking to one of my sisters, I can easily say, please leave me alone. I'm tired. I'm on my period and don't want to talk.
Don't want to talk to anyone.
So that's kind of what the world has taught me, that I approach the conversation differently depending on who I'm talking to.
So interesting that you guys say that. My idea of what the world has taught me is so scientific. Like, I literally link my period to my body health and the regularity of my period to how my body is working on the inside. If I'm not regular, I know something is wrong with me. And that's actually what periods have taught me. Like, I know that if I'm more than 2 days late, something's wrong. And I have literally lived by that from the time I got my period up until my mid-20s. And one day my period just disappeared for 2 months. And I knew, I was like, something is wrong. Like, this is just
Went
not.
on birth control, nothing.
Something is wrong.
Yeah.
So I went to a doctor and I got an ultrasound done because I'm crazy about my body. Everything must run on time. And he said to me, well, you've got cysts on your ovaries. You have polycystic ovarian syndrome. And it all just made sense. So yeah, that's what periods have taught me about my body. And the reason why I'm so OCD about how my body runs, that actually helped me get a diagnosis so much quicker. There are over 40% of women that live with PCOS and don't even know they have it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It's actually a silent disorder for a lot of women.
Yeah.
So yeah, my regularity in the past actually helped me in the future.
Okay.
For me, what the world, I guess when I was younger, it was just something that was never spoken about. But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to have more and more of these conversations. So I remember there was a time on this podcast, I was talking about like how like people dispose of their pads, and it was mainly stemming from, there was a girl in our race in my dorm who didn't know how to dispose of her pad properly. So I brought the conversation here on the couch, because we talk about all things girlhood, and then I had a conversation of like how I dispose my pad and so on and so forth. And then the comment section flooded with like so many methods to dispose of pads.
Wow.
I was hearing crazy things like people wash their pads. I didn't know that.
A disposable.
Yes. It's encouraged, especially in the rural areas. Like in the villages, in the rural areas, people are supposed to wash their pads because apparently they collect your pads and then they go do rituals with your pads. So at home,
I've heard about that before.
Wow, I've never heard about this.
Back at home, people wash. I was like, what? It was such a new concept of me. Someone is like, they wash it, then they run it up in tissue, then they roll it up in newspaper, and then they go dispose of it outside.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, guys, it's just a pad. Like, it's not that serious. It really isn't that serious. And maybe it's because I don't know, at home, it was just us girls and then my little brother. So my mom and my dad are divorced. So it's just us girls, and then we just have my little brother. Yeah. So I was just like, it wasn't that serious. So I went and had a conversation with my mom about this. I was like, Mom, people wash their pads, and she's like, yes, that's what we do back at home. People wash their pads. People dispose of them. Like it's such a big thing of and I think maybe that comes from the myth and the stigma that period blood is dirty, and that's why people then wash it and go and do all these things to dispose of a pad. And then I was even hearing someone say that if there's a man in the house, like your father, he's not even supposed to know you on your period. Like the men in your life are not supposed to know you on your period. That's how secret and sacred you must hide this thing that even the men in your house are not supposed to know. And I was like, that's so weird from someone who had dad bought her pads. Her dad is the one who bought her the painkillers. I was like, what? How is he not supposed to know when he's it really is such a crazy thing. So when I heard all these things, I was like, wow, guys, we have such different experiences, and it's so crazy. So now I want to ask you guys a question that, what should the world know about periods? What should we tell them now about periods?
In light of our negative
experiences.
Can I please start with you, Doc? Oh, you said I should call you Karishma.
Whatever you want to call me.
Because, like you said, PCOS is a silent, it's a silent diagnosis, right? What do you think that people usually miss?
I think a lot of girls and women aren't educated on the different types of issues when it comes to a period. Maybe they think, and it's been normalized, that if you miss your period for 2 months, it's okay. Because then it will come for a month and then it's gone for 2 months. So, I'm just irregular, it's okay. It's actually not okay. There's something that's happening inside that maybe if you went to a doctor, you could get diagnosed and become regular. You must know that your period regularity is actually linked to fertility. So when you're older and you've missed the signs of your irregularity and you're wondering, why can't I have a kid? It's probably because you haven't been ovulating. And there's so much we can do to help that nowadays, which is incredible.
And okay, I'm going to keep asking you questions.
You can ask me.
Because this is, I think I'm not as well informed as I would like to be on PCOS. Besides, the cycle irregularities, Are there any symptoms that show up physically?
Yes. There's multiple types of PCOS, the most common form being insulin-resistant polycystic ovarian syndrome. Most women have that. So you will end up with unexplained weight gain. All of a sudden, you just are gaining weight, or you were bigger to begin with and you struggle to lose weight on a healthy diet. You can become pre-diabetic from that. You can have skin tags. The other version is testosterone PCOS, where women just break out all along the hormonal areas, under the neck, along the lower face. And no matter what they can try different creams. Their hormones are imbalanced, their testosterone is increased, so they end up with these big acne pimples, and they end up growing hair in places women don't usually, so like the chin, on the underneath of the face. So that's actually,
Oh, I had no idea.
it's such an important
Where have you
thing.
been all our lives?
I think I'm so passionate about it because I was diagnosed with it, and it really affected me mentally. So I did so much research around it, and I want women to know about PCOS and endometriosis and adenomyosis. I want them to know, because if they don't know, they won't be able to link their symptoms with the diagnosis, and they won't be able to think, let me just go and check myself out. If nothing is wrong, fantastic. But most of the time, when there are issues with your period and your regularity, something's wrong, you know? So
Thank you. Okay, Kutiwano. What has changed your mind about how you were negatively informed? What have you learned?
I think what I've learned is that it's absolutely normal. And if something is absolutely normal, then it removes the shame, right? And it removes the secrecy around it. And again, the more information I get around menstruation, around your cycles, around the mood changes, around the weight fluctuations, the more I'm accepting of it, because information has said all of this is supposed to happen. Yes. So for me, that's been the biggest thing, to be accepting of it. When you sneeze, it's normal, right? When you sleep, when you wake up, it's normal. When you eat, it's normal. Going to the bathroom is normal. The period is normal. Just like all those other body functions.
So you were talking about like learning more about it, and I know that you guys with the P-Word Survey, that's what you're trying to like do, like make people more aware of like their periods and their symptoms and what they're going through. So is there like a way that Kotex, the brand, is trying to like, I guess, give information out there so that this is more normal?
Yes, definitely. And this is actually very close to my heart. So we're partnering with the Department of Education, and we're going into schools to teach girls and boys about menstruation, to tell them again it is normal, to remove the stigma around it. And for me, why that's important is because you're still very much in your absorbing age. It's a captive audience that is there to learn. We're going to the schools, a place where they learn. We're talking to their teachers. We have an entire activation where we give them period kits. We teach them about what's going to happen if it hasn't happened already. And the reason why I say that for me it's so close to my heart is that I've got two nieces who will be starting their periods in the near future. So some of our research has shown that girls are starting their periods now as early as 9. So when we think that we have time as parents or as aunties, that oh no, she's only 6 or she's only 7, I still have time. You don't have as much time as you think.
That's grade 4.
Exactly, it's grade 4. And what's interesting is that the age has also decreased in terms of when girls are starting their periods. So back in the day, yes, you did have time. You were starting at 16 or whatever the case may be. So for me, the school program is so important because that's where we can make sure that we're starting them off at a right base. So even when they are coming against information that's not necessarily accurate, we've kind of already told them what the right information is.
That's so good.
And we've given them like a really good starter pack, because we do give them product to trial full product. So when you go home and this does happen to you, you're not at a loss and you don't know what's going on and you don't feel scared that, oh, I don't know if I can tell mom because we've already told you about it. So for me, that is so key. That is so important.
Amazing.
And we having the conversations with young men and young women as well. So we run not the same, because obviously the requirements are different. But we do talk to, we've just had varsity activations now where again, we're delivering information and women are able to talk to other women about their periods. But for me, what's interesting is that it's such an open space that men are even able to come and share their experiences or even just come to learn about this period thing.
I love that, because I think every woman needs a safe space to not only ask questions about their period, but also voice their concerns about either the regularity of their period or the symptoms or the severity of their period pains. And I love that you guys are going to schools and going to universities and providing them that space, because it may not be present at home, you know? And I think that's incredible. I wish I had that. I wish my peers had that as well. And I love that also you're involving the men, because I think they too also have been misinformed in their own way, in their own families, where it's like, oh, don't touch my brother. He only started touching my pad, just touching them, like move my pad from one place where that's unused, it's wrapped. He only started touching them 2 years ago, and he's 19. And that for me was, I did feel like maybe it might have been a slip on my end too, or my parents' end, to say, hey, like this is normal. You know, I like that word, normal. For me, what I've unlearned by being informed now about, you know, when it comes to my negative attitude towards periods, is that all of these, the fatigue, the mental health fluctuations, the moodiness is also part of your menstrual cycle. It's normal. Like, you have hormones that contribute to that. And that for me was really validating. And I'm glad that like it's also validated now in the workspace, in school. It has now become you're allowed, you know, to take a day off or two. My sister sometimes takes, you know, last year, she was in matric last year, she was allowed a day off or 2 days off in a month when she gets her period, because it was either her period pains or she just felt super fatigued. Like, now even society is opening up to the reality of your menstrual cycle, which is so relieving for me, you know, because I always thought, hey, am I being dramatic? Is my inability to get up and go just me, you know, am I being hyperbolic? But I wanted to ask you, Karishma, which hormones, just for information, say for our audience, since we know that there are hormones associated with, you know, your stress levels, the way that your body behaves during your period, could you please like provide a little bit more insight into what those hormones are?
So with your cycle, there are 4 hormones that come into effect. 2 are the most important, estrogen, progesterone, right? The other 2 are your follicular stimulating hormone, which you won't hear about very often, and your luteinizing hormone. But the 2 that are the most important, like I said, estrogen and progesterone, and it's not like a linear graph. They fluctuate like this on a 28-day cycle. And that fluctuation is what causes your moods to change, energy levels to change, breakouts to happen just before your period. But we'll get into that when we talk about cycle syncing and how it all relates. But it is estrogen and progesterone.
And you would know that if you did life science.
Oh yes. I did life sciences. Like, you know, so crazy. The crazy part is like, you may be aware of this information because I did life sciences, but you forget it in the moment. When I'm experiencing the mood swings or when I'm fatigued.
Or you're anxious.
Yes, I'm just like, oh, I'm just being anxious. Oh, my tightness, I'm dramatic.
It's true.
I know it. I know that.
True.
I don't know why we can't just tight back because it's not my fault.
It's like I don't even have to look where I am in my cycle. If I am drained, I just know my period's going to come because I'm so tired and like unexplainably tired. And it's actually because it's just before my period.
Wow.
I like what I think you said about anxiety. Or what's
where
you just have this bout of anxiety.
Yes.
And then a couple of days later, it all makes sense. That's what that was about.
I also get very anxious close to my period.
See, I don't even tie those things to my period. It's only now that I'm realizing that I should actually check when I'm feeling my most exhausted. When is it? My most anxious, when is it? So that I can like look after myself.
And then there are parts of your cycle where you just get this burst of energy, like I can conquer them.
Yes.
Yeah, those seasons
Yeah.
are my favorite seasons when I'm just like, let's go. So I think we have like spoken enough on the girl chat and what the world has taught us about periods. Let's go into the game. So I'm going to be asking you guys questions and you guys have to tell me whether it's...
I think, okay, they can't be together. I have to have one and then you have one. Because if they're together, we lose.
I can't be a part of this because I'm asking the question.
Oh,
I know
are we
the
all
answers.
against each other?
Yes.
Oh, my
gosh.
goodness.
Every
Wait a
man for
minute.
themselves. Every man for themselves. And the penalty is if you get an answer wrong, you have to share one silly or outdated period belief you grew up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the
Guys,
first...
doesn't anybody feel like I'm at an unfair advantage here? I mean, they had an unfair advantage.
Yeah, no, you are going to
Can't
be the
I
one who's
partner up with can't I be an all-saver?
No. You have to
Yeah,
stand
you
alone.
have to be with. You have to play as well.
You have to stand alone. You
can
can
do
do
this.
this. And they're not difficult. They're not difficult questions, I promise. The first one is quite easy.
Okay.
You can't get pregnant during your period. Fact or myth?
I think it's a myth.
Kaya.
Everybody gets to answer.
But how does it work?
I don't know. Quizmaster.
Quizmaster, everyone gets a chance to give their answer.
Okay.
You can't get pregnant during your period?
Yeah.
It's a myth.
Myth?
I agree. I think it's a myth.
I also think it's a myth.
Do you have like a fact on what? Do you?
I just think that some women might have an extended period and that they might end up ovulating.
And that's why sometimes...
Even if it's, I don't know, but let's just see.
Okay. Next question.
Oh, she's not
You're not going to tell
Yeah.
us if you're right or not.
No, you guys got it right.
Oh.
You guys got it right.
Yeah, we need to know.
Okay, women can't participate in sports while on their period.
Oh,
That's a myth.
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 Full stop.
Yes.
That
I went
goes
to
back
the
to
gym on my period.
that goes back to when you
my
were
netball
scared. Yeah, your
concern.
netball
Yeah.
concern.
Hashtag
Tampons.
tampons. Thank you.
Oh, menstrual cups.
Oh, yeah, that as well.
What else?
I'm so scared about. Okay, so I've heard this before that like tampons can like cause you to like break your virginity, so on and so forth.
Actually, we all low-key believed that when we were kids.
Yeah. So
Oh, actually, can I say something quickly?
yes.
When my mom moved back in with us, right? She found my tampon. And then when she found it, it became like a whole confrontation. So she called me. And you know your mom has that voice when she's calling you,
yeah.
that, you know, I done did something.
Yeah.
So she called me. She was in the kitchen. I remember this like yesterday. She was in the kitchen. And then she was holding the tampon like this. And she says to me, so you're no longer a virgin.
Oh, Mom.
And I was like, what? And I just burst out into laughter because I was like, I couldn't believe my ears. And I'm like, Mom, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, this thing breaks your virginity. And only non-virgins use this tampon. And I'm just like, and I actually had to tell her, I was like, no, that's not what happens. The hymen has nothing to do with the virginity.
Yeah.
And virgins use tampons because sometimes I like to swim and I want to
Yes.
go to the gym and I want to do this and I want to be active, and the pad does not, support certain activities. And I had to educate my mom. So that is actually a really widely, accepted belief, in especially where my mom comes from, because she grew up in the village as well. Yeah, my dad never asked me that.
So at least now we have debunked it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't do any. No. Okay. For me, it's comfort. Is it comfortable?
Yeah, you've never worn a tampon?
So I think I did it wrong. I don't know. It was uncomfortable.
It'll change your
Would
life.
it
It's
be
the
weird if I
size.
showed her?
It's the size.
You have to
Yes.
help her.
I will show her.
You actually
She'll
have to
never
choose
go
a smaller
back.
It's gonna be a
size.
practical.
You have to help her.
It's gonna be. I'll help you.
And we have tampons, by
Yes.
the way.
No. I will really help you. Right?
She can show you.
Like, show me how to.
It's gonna be It's not
Yeah.
gonna be a verbal.
It's gonna be a practical.
Practical.
And she was
Yes.
just telling me that also the size of it, like,
Yeah.
matters as well.
Don't start your first tampon on a big one. Just choose a small one so that you're comfortable.
Okay.
will
Yeah, because I
love
was
it.
uncomfortable. It was, I was like, no.
You probably took like a regular or a maxi.
Yeah.
No.
And you didn't insert it
All the way
in.
up
It has
to
to
the
go
back.
all the way up.
If there's any friction, you're no ways.
Yeah.
You will want that thing out.
What is all the... You see, guys?
I got your back, baby.
Okay, fine. I'll try it out. Because, like, especially with our job and all those things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I was on a cruise. Imagine I was on my period on the cruise. And I
would have video called, and I'd be like, okay, put one leg up.
And then,
but you also have to remember that it is there. Like you have to still.
You can forget.
Every 4
Yes.
hours.
You have
to-
how do you
have to
forget?
change it.
Because you can't feel it.
You can't feel it.
Yeah, you forget that you're on your period.
What? Okay. Let's do 2 more because I think we've spoken quite a bit. Okay. Menstrual cycles can vary in length from month to month.
True.
Yes, true.
You only say true because the doctor say true.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna go get the doctor.
I'll answer last for the next one.
Please do.
No, I'm literally doing this. You know, she's
She's
doing tests
she's waiting for the response. You must start.
Yeah, actually. Was it true?
Exactly.
Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true.
You are normal.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's normal for cycles to vary due to many factors like stress and health.
Stress.
Stress.
Not us pointing at stress.
Stress, because we stress. Okay, you should avoid all dairy products during your period.
False.
I also think it's false.
Yeah, it's falsely true. It's false because I mean we all want chocolate and stuff
And ice cream.
and ice cream. So yes, indulge yourself, but it also causes inflammation, which can make your pain worse.
What?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but let's just say false. Like have your dairy, girls. I have mine. I eat chocolate, like a slab.
A
I
whole
will eat a
slab?
slab.
Okay, then
Can't
I
tell
heard.
me otherwise.
She said it with everything.
Yeah,
I am same.
me
there.
and that Cadbury, we're like,
one in the same. Okay.
was it true or false?
Ah, no, it was false. It was false. It was false,
yes.
but yeah, the answer was
Yes.
false.
Okay.
Yes.
That was
While some may feel differently, dairy affects everyone differently. So it's not a hard rule, like you said. Falsely. Yeah, it's like you
Falsely
knew.
true.
It's like you knew. It's like you had access to my questions.
I don't. I just know this.
You see? Okay, let me find one more. Okay, let's see. One more. Okay. The menstrual cycle only has one phase.
False.
Not true.
False.
And what are the phases? Is it the ones you mentioned earlier? The four. Is it the 4 phases?
No, those are the hormones I
4
mentioned.
hormones, and then
Four phases.
see,
The
I
luteal
needed this.
phase, the follicular,
Yeah, you guys said all 4.
Dream team. We win.
I would have lost if I partook in these games. I am so glad I was
team.
game master.
At the end. We tag team at the
But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, and I hope we debunked some myths for you guys and made you guys more comfortable with talking about your period.
Yeah.
Now we can go into the meat of the episode, which is our long topic.
Yeah.
And sorry, I need to jog my memory. The long topic is Not in Shame. That's the title of it. Not in Shame.
Okay.
And then this is where we will connect everything for you guys. So I'm going to ask some questions. Okay. Caiah mentioned earlier that like in your period we're like taught like to push through everything. Push through the pain, push through the fatigue, push through. So do you think that's like a correct like rhetoric that like we must be like pushing in the public? Like is
Yeah.
I really think intuitive listening to your body as a woman is so important, and that the reason why you're feeling tired or moody is it's literally related to hormones. So if you're tired and you're in pain on the first day of your period, you don't have to push through. Like, sure, take your meds, but also listen to your body. If you can't continue, you can't continue. It's women are very different to men. We are very different. And I think I was very grateful for my mom growing up, because I actually had dysmenorrhea, like intense pain, not normal pain, to the point where some days I just literally could not go to school. And on those days she'd be like, if you can't go, stay at home. And I think that's the same advice I would give. Like, if you can't do something, don't push through it. Just rest. Your body wants rest, so rest. You know?
But when it comes to intense pain, is there like treatment for that? Like
Yeah.
Or should we just keep relying on painkillers and keep it moving?
Your basic one for like average pain is your Panado. It's the
Yes.
safest pill to take. It's not going to cause really any side effects. But the one that is the most helpful, I would say, is your ibuprofen. There's even one like it's called Nurofen period pain. That
seen
one
that
works very well.
That's the one that got me.
For intense pain. It really works. But my dysmenorrhea is like on a level where one of those doesn't work. I need two. So when I say, listen to your body.
So I need to go to a doctor clearly because I also need two. And I thought like, it's normal because I'm like, I can't just take a Panado. Like I need like, I even go Maybelline, sometimes like prescription like painkillers. And I'm just like,
We should make it a date, girl, because I also just realized, we should make it a date.
Because
Good that just visits the doctor.
I didn't even know there's a condition for that.
Like dysmenorrhea it's like actually more of a symptom. It's like it means that you have intense pain. So there might be something wrong, but there also might not be.
It's just okay. So it's just good to just go check.
Yes, but if, for example, Panado is not working, then go to like an ibuprofen type of tablet, just so that you are comfortable.
Okay.
There's something you mentioned earlier. You said you called it cycle syncing, which I never heard of that before.
Yes.
So can you talk to us a little bit more about what cycle syncing is?
Wait,
Yeah. Okay.
before she gets into
context.
before she gets into it, I thought because we have this bad habit where like we kind of like speak to our guests before turning on the cameras, and then we end up like saying things, and then we end up saying stop, don't say that, we'll wait till the episode. So I thought cycle syncing is like when cycles sync, like girl, you got your cycle, we got our cycle, we got our cycles
So
together.
cute.
And I fully thought that's
It makes sense for that. I would have thought the same
That's
thing,
literally
girl.
what she said.
Yeah.
She says, I can't wait to talk about cycle syncing, when we cycle.
Yes.
sync up. And I'm like, that's not cycle syncing.
And I was like, what is
What is it?
Okay, so cycle syncing is basically where you have 4 different phases in a 28-day cycle period, where your hormones are different and fluctuating. So you eat, you exercise, and you social your life according to how your energy levels are, your mood is, because it actually is different.
Okay.
So the first 7 days of your cycle is your menstruation. So day 1 of menstruation to day, let's say 7, is your menstrual phase. In that time, you have low energy, you're lethargic, you're moody, and you just don't have that oomph to get through heavy exercise when you go to the gym. So they say like you should be doing light stretches, your yoga, like things that moving your body, but don't overdo it. And then basically supporting through foods that are high in omega-3s, because there's a study that was done where if you have high omega-3s and you supplement with that, it actually decreases your pain. So your salmon, your nuts, your leafy spinach, your lean proteins like your ostrich and beef and lean beef, that will be your menstrual phase, right? Then you get your follicular phase, which is from day 7 to day 13, right? Your follicular phase is where you said, I have so much energy. I'm on top of the world. That's when you go enjoy with your friends. You are lifting weights at the gym, or you're doing high intensity exercising. You can push your body. And that's when you're like supporting with foods like your lean protein, your rice, your complex carbs, really just enjoying life, like socialize, go out because you have so much energy. Day 14, it's one day, it's one phase. It's called your ovulatory phase. It's one day where your body releases an egg, ovulation. And on that day, you might actually feel like, ooh, I have an increase in libido, and you don't know why. It's actually because your body released an egg, and it's Mother Nature's way of saying, I want to have a baby.
Yeah, get going.
You still have lots of energy on that day. So exactly how you eat and train in your follicular phase is how you will be on your ovulatory day. If pregnancy doesn't occur, right, you go into your luteal phase, which is the ending. Now we're going the last 7 days of the cycle after your ovulatory phase. And your energy levels start to decrease again. Your progesterone starts to increase because progesterone basically protects a possible pregnancy. It'll keep it there. And that's when you'll break out, because when progesterone increases, you get oily skin, you get pimples, you'll get moody. And during that time, you want to be eating foods that are high in like your vitamin B6. So that is your avocados, your nuts, your fish again, because vitamin B6 is really good for energy levels. So it's cycle syncing is living your life according to your cycle. And there are studies that show, even for the most athletic women, when they are cycle syncing, it's more effective for their exercising, for their recovery times, because they're respecting their body, they're respecting their hormones, and they're treating themselves intuitively. So that's actually cycle syncing.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, wow, wow.
Whole thing, guys.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I'm
We
so
would have
like
not known if it weren't for you.
yeah, and I wouldn't
You're
know that
welcome.
you need to do that. Because now I'm like, maybe I'll study better, work better, be more like
Yes.
like work at my most optimal, because
Yes.
I'm listening to my body. Wow.
100%. And actually, like in your luteal phase, like people crave that dark chocolate and normal chocolate. It's like part of it. It's normal.
Sure.
Yes.
We're learning.
right?
Okay, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here a little bit, right? But there's also another, I think this is what we're going to title the episode, I can't lie. Period pride, right? Which is, I just came across it as well. I know
That's
that there
amazing.
is, I feel like our audience is going to eat this episode up because we're learning, and I know that they're learning as well. So the concept of period pride, I know, is more of a, let me say, I think there might be a medical side, you'll correct me, but I think it's more about your lifestyle, or what affects your lifestyle and your ability to have quote unquote period pride.
I'm learning about this.
What? I love you guys. If it weren't for you. So how I would define period pride is what enables you, or the things that enable you to get through your period smoothly, right? Whether it be something educational or it be your access to menstrual products. So your pads, your liners, your tampons, and even access to things like painkillers or even the diet, right? So the question now is, what influences your period pride, or when do you feel period pride, right? I'll start.
Okay.
I feel period pride when I have sufficient tampons and sufficient pads. I also feel period pride when I'm able to rest during my period, when I'm given grace to not participate in certain things, or not show up sometimes, or not answer a call, whatever. That's when I feel period pride, because I have access to the resources and my environment gives me, the grace to rest, to experience my normality, right? When do you feel period pride?
I think I feel period pride when I'm able to get off the world and listen to my body and spend time with my body.
Yeah.
And I think it's related a lot to what you've said.
Yeah.
Having that support structure that understands that today I can't show up.
Yeah.
I'm not available for anything.
Yeah.
I need to be by myself. I need to rest. I need to go for a walk.
Yeah.
I need to go for a drive. I need to go for
Lie
a swim. I
down.
need to do whatever it is that my body says I need to do.
Yeah.
I think having access to menstrual hygiene product is something that we might take for granted, but there are people who just don't
It's
have
so
access
true.
to it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get to choose if I want to use a pad today, or if I want to use a tampon tomorrow. So for me, that's
It's
huge.
the freedom of choice.
Yes, freedom of choice in
Yes.
terms of period pride. And I think for me, one of the most important things is centered around education. Just like Karishma was saying, that now I understand that I feel like this because I'm on this phase of my cycle. I feel like this because I'm on this phase of my cycle. And I don't have to push through anything anymore because I know it's normal. We all have different pain thresholds. So yours might be very painful and you do need to lie down. Mine might not be and I want to go for a walk. So I don't think it's any one thing that kind of gets me to feeling the period pride. It's a combination of all the things together. So it's the sum of the whole.
Yeah.
What I've also learned is the opposite of period pride is period poverty,
yes.
right? And what I've read on the P-Word survey is you get an insight into what people's period environments are, whether it's period pride or period poverty that they're experiencing. How is Kotex bridging that gap between period pride and period poverty? How are they enabling period pride, and how are they conscientizing people on what period poverty is?
From a brand perspective, what we can actively do, again, is drive the education around
100%.
menstruation, around, for starters, the correct products to use. So what was also news to me, and you'd think I'd know this as a woman, right? But it was news to me that I think 1 out of 4 young girls who are still in school still skip school every month. Because of a lack of access to menstrual products.
That's so sad.
It is very sad. And that has so many ramifications. I mean, missing school, again, it's kind of like this poverty cycle repeating itself, because now you're out of the loop in terms of opportunities. So what we can do as a brand is really drive that education with young girls, with parents, again, to teach them what you should be doing. And where we can, obviously, give them the access through the programs like the school programs, through the programs like the varsity activations. We do what we can in terms of sampling the product to get product into consumers' hands, so that you can, exactly. So I don't think as a brand we'll ever eradicate period poverty. It's not one brand's job. It's not only women's job. This is exactly, it's a societal issue, and that's why we're talking to men as well, that we all need to work towards getting rid of this. But as a brand, that's what we can do: drive the education, remove the stigmas around even the word period, and give the access to the consumers.
I love that, because even with your activations, like you said earlier, is that you have the conversations necessary for women to even feel pride. I think even that whole stigma and the shame, the secrecy surrounding periods, shame dies in open, free spaces.
Exactly.
And that's what you've provided through just your activations and the survey itself, like just asking people questions about what they're going through. But you did mention that you interviewed men.
We did.
Talk to me, girl.
It was so exciting, right, for us, that they want to be part of the conversation, right? And what's so positive about all of this is that we kind of getting this allyship from men. When I went to one of the activations, I was so surprised to see men actually participating with the activation, with the product. There were men who literally had packs of pads with them.
Lovely.
Wow.
And I was like, no, I have to find out what all of this is about. So I interviewed some of them, very personal, like, okay, so you're at a Kotex stand. Like, why are you here? Why do you have this product? And all of them, without fail, said, no, I'm participating in this. I want the product because I want to go give it to my girlfriend. And I thought that
so
is
sweet.
the sweetest thing ever. Because, like I said, it's not our problem.
It's not even a problem.
It's not a problem, exactly. It's a societal thing. And if we're seeing our brothers and our dads and our uncles actively participating in this conversation, again, it removes this whole thing that I can't talk about it, or don't talk to men, or don't touch men, or don't go out when you're on your period. So for us, that's the important role that men play, because they help to dispel this myth and these stigmas that exist around the periods.
So true.
When are you period proud?
You know, I was hearing what you were saying, and I just thought to myself, my word, I've never had to think that the reason I'm like I have period pride is because I have products, and that there are women who say, like, they actually add that in, I am proud because I have access to pads, like, and that there are women that don't. So it makes me very sad to hear that. But I am period proud, and I can be comfortable on my period when I have my pads, when I have my painkillers. Otherwise, I can't go through my day. And my support structure. My husband will heat my bean bag, and I'll put it on my uterus and be warm and lie down, because I really suffer with pain. Like, I'm out, KO. So I'm lying down. I've got my bean bag. I've got my chocolate. I've got my pills. And I can actually just get through the day. And my popcorn.
I
popcorn,
I
guys.
don't understand the craze around popcorn.
Same. I don't, but my friends are
Popcorn.
obsessed. I don't get it as well.
I don't get it.
I get the
Popcorn.
chocolate.
tastes
You're on
like-
your own with the popcorn.
Oh,
though.
Yeah,
I
it tastes
love
like
popcorn.
aerated salt.
How dare
You
you?
have to use sugar though.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes, guys, you haven't tried
Thato.
popcorn and sugar.
No,
I'm putting you on.
no.
Go try
I,
it.
I understand
And then
diddle
tell me.
daddles.
No.
Instead of salt,
popcorn.
sugar. Go try it. Then tell me.
I can't try it.
We're going to need to see two kinds of doctors after having popcorn with sugar.
Yeah.
We're going to need to see a gynae. We're going to need to see a gastrointestinal doctor. I'm not trying that. I'm not.
You're missing out.
I'll try it because you recommended it.
Thank you.
And
You'll tell the
let me
story
know.
from the hospital bed.
I'll tell the story at the hospital bed. It's crazy. I'm period proud. When I have conversations like this, when it's so normal to have like conversations about your period. Like I've spoken about my period with so many women in my life, even at Reyes with my like dorm mates and stuff. We speak about our period, and it's a thing of like maybe it's because I grew up where these conversations were so uncomfortable, and now I'm in a place where like these conversations are comfortable now. Like I can just have them with anyone. And I love, there's this one girl on TikTok, she's known as the period fairy. She literally goes around to concerts and stuff giving away tampons and
that's
pads.
amazing.
And she is an advocate for having your period, getting a period. She's
amazing.
She's the most period proud person I've ever met in my life. Like she literally goes and like people know her for that. Like people when they see her in concert say, "Hey, I'm such a big fan," and she's like, "Hey, do you want a
That is
tampon? Do you want a
amazing.
pad? Do you want this?" And she encourages doing that.
Wow.
And another thing that makes me period proud when you mention the men at like the activation. So there's this a male rares at my university, and they go around like knocking door to door to different raisins asking for pads. And this is a full-on male raise.
Oh, that's so
going around asking for pads to get people to donate their pads and stuff like that, and then they give those away. And for me, it's like 10 out of 10.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Incredible.
Oh, sorry, I got a little bit distracted. Yes,
Thank you.
I was trying to get you that.
So speaking of the period fairy, I don't think it was her, but I had an incident where I was at a concert and my period started and I didn't have a pack. Yes, because I have like a little bag that I keep them in.
Yes.
And I changed bags because I wanted a bag that was appropriate for where I was going.
Yeah.
And I would like to believe that I'm quite open-minded and I'm liberal, but I saw that day when I was asking girls, "Hi, do you have a tampon for me?" I was whispering.
Sure.
Same, actually.
Yeah.
So I think step one, say it out loud.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. That's
Yes.
going to change everything for us. And I think having conversations like these is so important to engage listeners and not only make it so rigid, but having, like the medical side of things, having the practical on the ground kind of experience with the P-Word Survey and your activations and you going to schools. By the way, can I come with next time you go?
I will make sure you're invited.
Thank you.
We're still running some activations actually.
Please.
So let me check when's the next one and then come through.
Please.
For
I
sure.
go be there. Okay, I'm gonna be there. So I think one, say it out loud. To have the conversations. 3, participate. Right? Even if you can't. Even if you don't have the means to share the education, share the product. Because there are girls and women who are experiencing period poverty, and I think when you have period pride, the one thing that you want to do is make sure the next woman has period pride too. And I love the initiative that Kotex is working on with also the period packages that you mentioned.
Yes.
I love that so much because I was also doing a leadership program in my area because my area is like a low middle income area, and I was so surprised to find that a lot of the young girls don't have access to pads, so they'll use like a washcloth or they'll just not go to school or toilet paper.
Very sad.
Yeah. And just being there also and just giving from your access, because I know that I'm not going to use all 3 packets of pads. the two can go, or the one can go, and that's going to enable somebody else to have period pride.
And you will be part of the reason why they have a good experience with their period.
Yes, they have a positive experience. I love that. So before we close off, and before you tell them where they can read about the P-Word survey, and obviously one thing that I've taken away from this, so we're going to share our affirmations and our period affirmations. So something like, this cycle I will, next cycle I will, and as a result of this conversation, what you've learned. So what I've learned is I'm going to listen to my body.
Yes.
I am definitely going to listen to my body and cycle sync, because that is new, and I'm definitely going to do that. And also, I have been experiencing like some irregularities that I was thugging out. I mentioned it on the couch, I think 2 weeks ago, that I've just been thugging, and I shouldn't, because something may be really, really wrong, right? Or amiss, should I say amiss? Wrong. So that's what I've learned. Listen to my body. And my period affirmation is, this cycle I will give.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
thank
you.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I must say what I will do this cycle and next cycle.
Yes.
Okay. This cycle, I'll be kinder to myself,
That's really fun.
because even though I do know about cycle syncing, I am very much a let's get on with it
The
type
push
of
through.
person. Let's just push through it. This happens every month. Like, come on, let's move on with it. So this cycle, I will be kinder to myself, and when I do need to take those few minutes or hours out, I will do that. Next cycle, I will be louder with how I talk about periods. As I mentioned earlier on, I found that I would be whispering when I talk about it. Next cycle, I will be louder with how I talk about it. And I have a lot of young girls around me, and I want to be that champion who ensures that they do have a positive first period with me and with Kotex, of course.
Beautiful. I love that.
I think this cycle, I will be kinder to my body, because I can already feel, I am ballooning. Okay, I'm swelling. So I just want to be kinder, because actually it's not a permanent thing. It's part of the symptoms that swell. And next cycle, I actually want to do what you said. I will give. I love that, because Kotex has given to me. And like you said, like we maybe only need like one or two. And there are so many women and girls out there that need pads. And I was just thinking about all of this yesterday. And if I was a young girl I loved school, guys, and I was so academic, and if I had to skip school for 7 days every month, can you just imagine? There are so many women like that, and I actually think that there needs to be initiatives out there that make giving pads out as common as finding condoms in a public bathroom.
Yes, absolutely.
It needs to be the same. There need to be the same number of pads in public bathrooms as there are condoms. Because actually, women cannot help the fact that they get a period. It is normal. It happens every month. And our girls contribute to our society. They become citizens, and there should not be a lack in their knowledge because of something that is normal. So I will give.
I think I'll also take some from you guys. The cycle I'll listen. Actually start cycle syncing, because I didn't even know what that was clearly. So I'll start cycle syncing and just listen to myself and my body. And then next cycle, I'll actually try and like use my resources, because there's this platform, there's also my personal platforms that I have to kind of like avenue giving, because I feel like with giving, we feel like we should give like 10,000 boxes of pads when that one box is enough, and kind of like speaking to the university about it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like having like a box at a race where people who have extra pads can just drop off pads and then someone can just come and pick it up.
That's lovely.
Because I feel like having to go because I was once HK, and if somebody needed a pad, they would need to come and knock on my door and ask me for like a pad and stuff like that. And I don't think that's a comfortable thing to do. Like, you know, like you think about it 10 times, like, oh my God, I had to speak to someone, and then they'll know that I lack. But if there's a box, so you can just go pick it up and drop it off, like it's so easy. There's no need to have a middleman in you getting a pad, you know. So I think actually speaking about that, you know, and seeing what the university can do on a raise perspective. Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much for coming to the digest. Thank you. Let this not be the last time. And I'm saying that as a
Very threatening.
yes, it should sound that way because it was so lovely to learn from you. It was so lovely to have your perspectives and your experiences and your knowledge. Like, there's only so much we have.
Yes.
So we really appreciate you guys taking your time to come through. And we're so honored to have such great and bright minds and women who are absolutely powerful, because that's what our podcast is for. Women who are taking up space, who are powerful, who are intelligent, who are eloquent, who are personable, who are beautiful, who are kind, who are...
Okay, keep going. We're not going to stop you.
Thank you so much. Guys, you can read all about the P-Word Survey in our description box, and also follow Kotex on all their social media platforms to be on top of what they're doing, when they're doing it, where they're doing it, and please share your period affirmation, your cycle affirmations in the comment section. This cycle, I will. Next cycle, I will. And if you want to join me in giving, and join Karishma also in giving, and I know that everyone else is going to give, if you want to join us, also click the link in our description box to be part of the movement. And DM us, also DM Kotex, be part of everything that's happening. Do you want to give the cues?
Yes, subscribe, like, comment, share, do the right thing. And I guess for period positivity, you guys can comment. What should they comment?
Yeah, like, what emoji do you think they if they made it this far into the video, what emoji do you think they should put in the comment section?
A red heart.
I also thought
Okay.
You guys are sinking.
Wink, wink. Okay, so please comment a red heart, and see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.